Welcome to Ratios and Rates Unit, your lesson on rates from Lesson 6.2 in the Glencoe Course 2 textbook. You will be able to describe a rate and determine if two unit rates are of any given rate. So this is a very good consumer math lesson. This unit rate is something that you use a lot in your adulthood, whether you know it or not. Here we go. So, looking at these different things, we learned about ratios yesterday. What do these have in common? Or what do they have in comparison to ratios? This first one says 32 miles per hour. Second says 25 marbles in 6 minutes. And the third one says $54.50 for 5 chairs. What do you notice that those have in common? What you might notice is that each of them have two different units. We have miles and hour, marbles and minutes, dollars and chairs. Whereas yesterday, when we were looking at ratio, if we had inches and feet, what we did was changed those to be the same unit because they measured the same type of thing. Whereas minutes and miles an hour will never measure the same thing, the same type of unit. So there are different units. So what these are called are rates. Rates are ratios, so there's still ratios, but they're ratios that compare two quantities with different kinds of units. So if I have 160 beats in 2 minutes. What a unit rate is, the word unit kind of helps us here, is that when a rate is simplified, so that it has a denominator of 1. So what I say is that a unit rate, as I describe it, is it's how much or how many for one. If you're at the store and you're seeing that something's being sold 3 for $5 or $5 for 3, you're wondering, well, what if I just buy one? Is it really a better deal for me to buy 3 of them, or do I just need to get one? So this is your unit rate, is how much or how many for one. What am I getting for one of the units? And generally, the bottom unit is an amount or time, and we'll see how this goes going forward. So make sure you have that vocabulary down. It's going to be very helpful for you moving forward. These are some common unit rates, or different common rates that you'll see in this chart here. A rate like number of miles an hour, number of miles a gallon, number of dollars per pound, number of dollars an hour. A lot of times when people are getting paid. So the unit rate of those would be miles per 1 hour, per gallon, per pound, per hour. Some different abbreviations here, and then names of what those are called. So here are the steps for finding unit rate. You can write these down if you're a step person. Simply, you have to write what the ratio or what the rate here is as a fraction. And then you simplify that by dividing both the numerator and the denominator by the denominator. And luckily, for the most part here, this unit, you're going to be able to use a calculator. Yay! And then compare. Occasionally, you're going to be asked to find the better buy. So if I'm standing in the aisle and I'm looking at cereals, and there's a number of ounces on them, I might decide which one am I getting the most for my money. So let's give it a try. Finding unit rate. So Desiree earns $280 in 40 hours. We want to find the rate that describes her pay per hour. So we're finding her unit rate. What is her hourly pay rate? Hourly wage, remember, was a common phrase telling us we're looking for unit rate. So step 1, we write them as a fraction, 280 over 40 hours. We want to divide by our denominator. Denominator is 40. Well, 40 divided by 40 is just 1, so we get 1 hour. And on the top, I know that 28 divided by 4 is 7, so 280 divided by 40 is also 7. So what that means is Desiree earns $7 per hour at her job. Here's another one, and notice the rounding. So find the unit price if it costs $2 for 8 juice boxes. So we're looking at $2 for 8 juice boxes. Notice we have a larger number in the denominator than the numerator, meaning we're probably going to have less than $1 per juice box. It's not going to cost very much, and that's okay. Nearest cent, remember cent per cent, it means 100. So when they say that, when you write money like this, we want to round and stop there. So what I do is divide both of them by 8, and that's really 2 over 8, which is the same as 1/4, which I know is the same as 25 hundredths. So I get that's 25 cents, or 25 hundredths, per 1 juice box, which I just write as 25 cents per juice box. Now you try. Okay, so there's a couple here, rounding to the nearest hundredth. So first thing you're going to do, pause when you're ready, is I set up 300 over 6 hours, divide by my denominator. I know that 30 divided by 6 is 5, so 300 divided by 6 is going to be 50. So that's $50 per hour. Over here, 220 miles in 8 gallons, dividing by my denominator of 8. And this one, again, I'm going to use my calculator, and I get 27.5 miles per gallon. So it's really important, you guys, that you label, because these are rates, so we need to know what they represent. So make sure you're labeling all the way through here. One more just finding, and this is an estimation. So you could estimate first, thinking, well, we're looking for the unit price of a 4-pack of mixed fruit, sells for $2.12. So we're going to always kind of look at money over the unit, what you're buying. You're not really often looking at, well, how much fruit per dollar. Okay, so looking more here. So that's approximately, that's like 200 divided by 4, which is about 50. So we're going to see it's around 50 cents. So I do $2.12 divided by the 4-pack. Divide both by 4. And I get 53 cents per pack. Alright, so one more thing that you're going to be asked to do is comparing unit prices. So again, you're kind of comparing, see which is the better buy. So here it says the prices of the 3 different bags of dog food are given in the table. Which size bag has the lowest price per pound? So we see, are we wondering, is it the 40-pound bag, 40 pounds of dog food but costs $49, 20-pound bag that costs $23.44, or the 8-pound bag that costs $9.88? So it's hard to make an assumption here because their amounts are all slightly more than per pound. So we need to figure some things out. So how we find the solution is we read it and determine what we're going to be asked to do. Then we go out to solve. And to solve, you find the unit rate. So we take the price per pound and divide and find amount. So 40 over $49, 20 pounds, the cost divided by that, and the cost of the 8-pound bag divided by 8 pounds. So what we see is that this cost is the cheapest. Okay, when it comes to money, we want to be less. So and we would never have this rounded to the thousands place because then have money. So it's approximately $1.17 per pound for that 20-pound bag. So that sells, you get more at a lower cost per pound. So, the 20-pound bag. So a couple more if you're ready to try them. setting these up and seeing if you can finding a unit rate, or see if you can predict things afterwards. So Lexi painted 3 faces in 12 minutes at the craft fair. At this rate, how many faces can she paint in 40 minutes? So we're looking at faces per minute. So one thing you can do is do that there's 3 faces in 12 minutes, and you're dividing by 12, dividing by the denominator, which is 3/12, again, is the same as 1/4. So we get 25, a full quarter of a face per minute. Well, that doesn't help us answer how many can you do in 40 minutes. So what you set up then is your unit rate at quarter of a face every 1 minute. So what you do then is times. If she's doing that for 40 minutes, then those minutes cancel, and you really have quarter times 4, 40, and you get 10 faces in 40 minutes. Last one, yay! Shari, I think is her name, ran 4 miles in 20 minutes. She's pretty fast. At this rate, how long will it take her to run 10 miles? So we have miles per minute. You can tell a minute per mile doesn't really make as much sense. So we have 4 over 20. We're going to divide by 20. Oh, wait a minute. Miles per minute. I'm doing that wrong. Yeah, and this should be, how many minutes does it take to run 1 mile? See, sometimes you got to read it to yourself and then say, what are you doing? So, you could do it that way, but it's going to be a little different. So, it's going to take me 20 minutes to run 4 miles. My bad, everybody. And so I'm going to divide by 4 to figure out how much does it take me to run 1 mile. So it's 5 minutes for 1 mile. So at that rate, at 5 minutes for 1 mile, how long will that take me to run 10 miles? So the miles cancel, and I'm left with 50 minutes. She's quick. It's really quick. Alright, boys and girls, so a lot, you can use your calculator kind of now on different ones. You need to show your work just like I did. But make sure you're labeling and trying to come with questions. See you soon.